Hello, everybody.
Hi, Bolon.
We will give it a minute here for everybody to hop on stage and for people to have a chance to get into the audience, and then we will get started. All right, we will go ahead and get started. Today is a very special AMA because we have with us the one, the only, second best dad, and we are going to open up with him.
I have arrived, like a mysterious art groundhog, to see my shadow and extend the art updates a few more months, or whatever. People have been seeing the Twitter updates with minor hero adjustments, but I think the real story is the modernization of our animation technology. By updating these tools, I kind of just jump right into this. By updating the animation tools, we really sped up a lot of future art and really opened up the window for different things like reskinning the heroes and making changes based on gameplay and questing and even duels. So I'm really excited about that, and I think really we're all set up for the art team to be a lot more efficient in the future. I'll let Beetle talk because he's better at it than I am.
Hey, Segmas Dad, what's your favorite thing that you've done that's being released here in terms of the clashes? What's your favorite update?
Oh my god. I don't really pick favorites. It's like picking a favorite child. It evolves over time. I mean, you have a favorite child, but it's like each day you have a different favorite child.
I was gonna say, are we pretending that we don't pick favorite children?
Yeah, I was gonna feel bad for a second.
In this moment, if I say hero update, what's the first hero that pops in your mind?
People haven't seen it yet. I think we're just scratching the surface right now. People are seeing the heroes, but oh man, there's so much other stuff. And the reason I'm not on these AMAs most of the time is because there's a whole lot grinding away in the background, and I think people are going to be pleasantly surprised in the near future.
Being very cowardly, second best dad. Just tell everyone that you love basic archers. It's your favorite.
Everybody knows I have only thieves. So
True.
naturally speaking, it was in my best interest to make Thief in my own image, and nobody's seen it yet, but I hope people like it, because if they don't, it's a personal insult to me.
Y'all have stubble. Wonderful stubble. Awesome. Thanks, second best dad. I'm not afraid to admit my favorite new hero, new rework is the Dragoon, which Fox mentioned too. It looks fantastic. I'm excited. But yeah, so I mean, I guess going off of what SPD was mentioning, we're really excited about the new hero rework. Hopefully people are enjoying seeing those popping up on their socials, getting excited for what that's going to mean for the game at large, which if you don't know already, a big driving force for the update in the first place was just making sure that we can create essentially a consistent experience across the whole site. So starting with the combat testing grounds, making sure that the animations are going to look good there with all the different class outfits and things. SPD has been going back and forth, just perfecting that, making sure that the motion looks great. And I can confirm that it does. It looks so much better, and just excited to have that there. But also we'll be able to leverage the same assets, the same endpoints, everything to serve up to the hero cards as well, which I think I might have mentioned last time, but in case that didn't sink in, we are definitely looking to have this replace heroes in the hero cards along with the combat testing grounds. I think I mentioned also that we would have an option for a classic view for those folks who want to have the original hero art, that will still be available as well. But this will just really let us hone in on the gamification of these cards going forward. We specifically can do a lot of cool things, which SPD alluded to, such as animations and duels when your heroes are fighting. So that is necessarily a thing that would happen within the cards themselves. So we need this new update with the animations to be available in the cards as well. So duels as an example of where we could really, I think, add some more personality to what your heroes are doing, and I think make it a lot more exciting there. But we also can, we are setting up a pipeline in which we can have animations for essentially any tasks or activity that your hero is doing. We're looking pretty heavily at maybe adding some questing animations for the cards, where your hero could be doing their activity while they're in their cards. So I think that would be a super awesome feature to have added. Really kind of add a lot of personality to how things are looking. We've talked to Hubert a little bit about that, and that's essentially a ticket that we've had on our board for almost a year or so. Might be one of the older tickets that we've got laying around, but this whole update just helps us to make good on all of those forward-thinking ideas that we haven't been able to with our original hero design. So I don't want to undersell just how big this is going to be, and how much this will set us up for success in the future. So just really excited about it. I feel like I've probably said that about 10 times at this point, but it's true. And every time I say it, it reflects just that much more excitement. So big props to Second Best Dad for putting in a ton of work on that side of things. Give them all the love. This is a huge effort, and it is looking amazing, and it's going to future-proof us going forward and just make everything easier to add personality, which I guess is Second Best Dad's claim to fame, is adding personality to stuff. So thanks, everybody. Appreciate the positive feedback so far, and really excited for this update in general. And I think maybe Dreamer had some words he wanted to follow on from that.
Real quick, I'm going to slip in. If you haven't seen the updates, then you're not following us on Twitter, which is an offense in itself. You should be. But definitely check out Twitter to see. I think 5 are out right now, if I remember right. And we're doing one each day, as well as a giveaway that goes along with it. So make sure you're participating in that. And if you want to know for sure that you will definitely get an alert when they get posted in the reaction rolls Twitter, you can get the Twitter roll which will give you notifications to the Twitter channel that posts every time we post on Twitter, so you can get alerted. Did I say Twitter and posts enough time? Go ahead, Dreamer.
I saw a comment that said that we've replaced our uhs and ums with the word excited. So, for those of you that don't know, Frisky Fox loves Chat GPT, and I'm starting to use it for everything. I have a list of 20 words that are better than saying excited on a press conference. So we're going to find and replace some of those. The first one is, I am so enthusiastic, thrilled, delighted, eager, ecstatic about these updates that Second Best Dad and Beetle just went over. Imagine pulling up your heroes and showing your friend that doesn't know about DeFi Kingdoms, what your legion is doing and how you're commanding them. You don't have to just say and explain to them and use your imagination about fishing and foraging or traveling or doing all the other things. Your NFT is going to update like real time to what it's doing in the game. And in a beautiful way that's fun, that maybe even unlocks like premium things that we can earn or obtain, in the future. This is kind of like a mini game experience within an asset within the game. A lot of work has gone into that, and it really kind of changes the branding or the outside view of the early version of features as being like a passive or farming game experience to it being a visually stimulating, exciting, active, and live experience that shows what your active choices of your legion are real time. So I'm really excited about it. In the past, when we say DeFi Kingdoms is going to be, a tokenized RPG, people didn't really know how to think about that. And in our last update in Barcelona, we tried to expand that a little bit further, really with adding some more detail on travel and decision making and the opportunity cost of where you need to go within the realm and on which chain and what you want to do within the game. With these updates, it's starting to unlock not only cool things within battle and the visualization of that, but everything else in the game as well for your heroes that you own, that you're looking at and deciding what you want to do. So I just wanted to kind of hit it home. Beto said didn't want to undersell. I think it's oversell. I can't really remember what you said, but I'm here trying to oversell the vision and the dream, because for anybody that's enjoyed playing DeFi Kingdoms so far, and I think everybody here hopefully has enjoyed it, this is a huge upgrade to the day-to-day experience and the active and passive decisions that we're making. I didn't use all 20 words, but I used 5. Other ones are overjoyed, elated, jubilant, pleased, invigorated, for others to use instead of excited.
I think we've discovered that there are such things as like thesauruses too. We just are too lazy to look them up.
Yeah, that's old school. we have AI now to just do that for us.
But this specifically said what to use in a press conference. So if you notice, there's not overly like technical words that you wouldn't use. So it's AI, guys. It's thinking. It's not just a thesaurus.
Yeah, the thesauruses are extinct like all the other sauruses.
Exactly. We don't need that anymore. All right. Let's see. Next thing we wanted to talk about. Oh, wait. Where's Magnus? Magnus. Now I'm sad.
Did we lose Magnus again? Is he
Apparently.
under the couch? Check under the couch.
There's Magnus. I found him. It was me. I did it. Magnus was going to talk about mining.
Sorry, guys. I was hiding under the couch, just like Beetle said. I forgot to click the speak on stage button. My bad. So yeah, keeping with the theme of making things better for the future, I'm really excited to have Quest V3 out. Very pleased with the enhancements to the deployment process so far. It's like orders of magnitude faster to get things deployed, and I've already seen the benefits of that this week. So that basically means I can spend more time building out new features instead of having to deal with kind of the operational overhead side of things. So we are still working through a couple of post-launch bugs, namely a bug that's affecting the way token mining rewards are calculated. We've currently got that in testing, and once that's confirmed to look good, we'll get that out ASAP. I think that's mostly it for me this week. Oh yeah, and, on the DFK chain side of things, if you're running a testnet node and trying to bootstrap one, especially, make sure to grab the latest version because they changed the IP addresses where they kind of like sync the C chain state from. So you might just kind of be stuck waiting in perpetuity if you don't have that latest one. That's particularly for testnet. But yep, that's it for me.
And to clarify, it's the mining items, not the actual token rewards, correct? Like the
Oh
power.
yeah. That's right. When I said token, I meant like the game token aspect. So it would be tiers and runes specifically that this is affecting.
Thank you, good sir. All right, and we're gonna circle back to Beetle Dude to talk about some approvals that he doesn't approve of.
I sure don't, Milan. Thank you. Yeah, so I think some folks, it seems, have been running up against some approval issues. Just wanted to, I guess, update that we are aware of them, that we're looking into them as just like standard bug fixes as much as we can. But this has also led into kind of a longer discussion about a better way to handle approvals, maybe, especially since it seems like, I don't know, every 2 weeks or so, MetaMask maybe pops up something that blows them up for a second. So our thought was to create essentially a location where people can manage their approvals, which would include like ingredient approvals, allowances for those ingredients, transfer all approvals. Essentially, finding any space that we're requiring approvals and adding those to a central location where people can manage them. It is a little bit of a bigger, solution. It'll take a little bit longer, but hopefully not a ton of time. And we've got Typical working on it, and he is fantastic. So I have faith that we should be able to get something put together fairly quickly. Just kind of want to assuage that issue a little bit, make sure people are aware that we are working on it actively and trying to come up with a solution that will help push things forward in general rather than just trying to slap another band-aid on top of what's already there. So yeah, I guess that's my update there. We'll keep you posted as that progresses. Thank you, Bull.
Thank you, good sir. And then we are going to go back to Dreamer for an update on some opinions.
So legal opinion, yes. So actually, shout out to Professor Tango, who's been running point on this. And credit to our tokenomics committee, which has taken time to review some things. We have received a draft of the nearly 20-page opinion, and very impressed by it. The opinion really is looking to review all the inputs and the history to see if you have an opinion on Duel being a security or not. So we have reviewed it and all the supporting evidence that claims it is not a security due to one legal group's opinion. We gave some feedback on it. The feedback came back. I think we're nearing a final draft, which is really good. We have a few vendors set up, asking for it and ready, so it's perfectly timed. These are really important vendors as well, and are trying to extend our overall access to new players to get Duel. So really happy that we moved forward with that when we did, and allocated the resources to it. There was a bit of feedback in this interaction, as well as from our market maker that we're working with, related to, and this might be the last time I say it live, because apparently there's just a lot of sensitivity, and from multiple angles, people are asking professionally that we do not mention centralized exchanges on AMAs or anything. The reason is part of the Howey test is directly related to like expectation of, future like price adjustment or proceeds or appreciation. And some people group those two things together. Even if our intent is to improve overall access and liquidity of supported tokens, some might not view it that way. So we're actually going to be really cautious about any mention of listings going forward, especially in the market that we're in. And further on that, there's a lot of caution in the space from lawyers, from market makers, and others to even consider US-based listings at this time. So from our side, we're going to keep doing what we're doing. We have an opinion that's almost final that is really, really good for all of us, especially with the recent developments and what we have, in mind for the future. But we're going to be taking that guidance and being extra cautious given, the news that we've already talked about and we're all aware of, and we're going to continue to see unfold. So good news from the opinion side. Bull on.
Thank you, Dreamer. If you have any other opinions you just want to talk about, that's fine too. Right.
I like all the heroes that we've released. My favorite isn't out either, but I'm not going to say which one it is.
Ooh, nice. Beetle Dude's calling you out in chat. So one other update that I wanted to give, and then we'll go into some questions. Obviously, we've talked about 3XP a few times at this point. We are very, very much excited for 3XP coming in just a couple short weeks at this point. I mentioned last week that we had a couple tickets to give away, and that our very own Sergeant Filthy McNasty and Christian Peter would be doing the ticket giveaways through their streams. There is actually going to be a stream today at 7 p.m. Eastern, which is just over 4.5 hours from now, that will be Sergeant, Christian, Grady, and I believe Starbuck is the fourth, if I remember correctly, as well as the organizer of 3XP, who will be joining them for the stream. So make sure you tune into that stream. It should be really good. One of those tickets will be given away during that stream. And if you are attending 3XP or thinking you might attend 3XP, or even if you just live in the area and you want to join in on the festivities, make sure you go to reaction roles and get the event goer role so that you gain access to the IRL events channel. Christian and Sarge have planned a DFK community meetup, which is awesome. But we really love to see the community respond to the events that we're going to be at. It's super cool for us to, have you guys support, but also to get to meet some of you in person. I'm still super sad and dying of jealousy that I will not be at 3XP myself. But it's just awesome to go somewhere and have people who know about us, we interact with on a regular basis, and now we get to see them and meet them and talk to them in real life. So huge shout out for that. That's always super exciting, and greatly appreciate everything that Sarge and Christian have been doing to organize all of that on their end.
Hey, I'll just add, I was actually in DMs here with Crypto Grady. Chris is also hopping on his stream today, I think at 6 p.m. Central. So Chris is pretty awesome. We've been working with him directly. They were reaching out to us really early. I think the group that was in Denver, we met a lot of their team. So I'm really excited about the event as well. Oh no, I said excited. Where's my list? Invigorated. But it's going to be great. We're going to be working with Avalanche Gaming guys too, and the event was very well timed with another large event that got canceled. So I imagine it's going to be a huge showing. Anybody that has been considering going and isn't sure, if you can get your hands on a ticket, join one of those streams that are doing giveaways, or go buy one, and we'd love to see you there.
Yep. And it's the same stream. They're going on Grady's stream. 6 p.m. Central.
Oh. Cool. Oh, then I shouldn't have said anything. I just didn't want us to miss out an additional one. So I'll
you're good. No, you're good. But yeah, very much excited for that. It was good to get to meet some of the 3XP folks in Denver. That was a good call out as well. So very much excited for that. All right, let's do some questions. First question is, we heard from Dreamer that there were some meetings in Barcelona about Kingdom Studios entertaining investment funding or a capital raise. Curious what the primary goals around this are: to bulk up staffing in certain areas, pay for new technical infrastructure, a little bit of everything, etc. Dreamer, want to speak to that a little bit?
Can I just say a little bit of everything, etc., or do I have to talk about it?
That works for me.
No, we're actually being really, really intentional about this. So, a capital raise can mean different things to different companies or projects at different stages of that company. So, oftentimes you have an idea, you get a team together, and you maybe take a little bit of money to make a prototype or something. Then you go for a seed round, and you say, "Hey, please seed our idea," and then we'll carry it forward and have more of a proof of concept, and the initial valuation will change in later stages of capital raising. So they'll have like a Series A, Series B, and then you start getting into like what's categorized as growth stage, and then like mezzanine, which is kind of like a mix between liquid equity and private. And then sometimes companies go public and beyond. So we've been around for coming up on 2 years now, and there have been fees that have been generating quote unquote like profit or revenue for the project that then pays the development company of Kingdom Studios for any of the related services required to either build or run it. So on the raise side, we have an opportunity to have like a seed investment because the cap table is pretty much empty, capital table. So that's like the list of owners, right? It's very rare to enter a company that is revenue generating, has a following, has been through ups and downs, continuing to have proof of concept, and is innovating a space that everybody's trying to get into, but nobody's really penetrating super deeply in terms of like technical ability. People are kind of just staying pretty surface level, focused on hype and so on. So when you see a seed potential, but you mix that with a growth stage like use of proceeds, we're not gonna like make something and see if people like it. We're gonna take a trajectory that we're on currently and increase it significantly. So that'll mean bringing a lot of our existing devs to like an actual fully paid work week. Not everybody, we haven't been focused on even having fully 40-hour work weeks. A lot of the people that you've seen in the last week, yes, we're making sure we're taking care of people as much as we can, but there's a lot of sacrifice going on. Everybody on the team is very, very passionate, and it's not for everybody. It's a hard thing to do, but the raise will help us bring people to full work weeks. That'll increase our output. Now, I will note that a lot of people are working much more than a full work week, but not getting fully paid for it. If you look at hourly, we have the ability to extend further for like a fully paid in cash 40-hour work week. That's going to be significant for the team, but that's only a small portion of use of proceeds. If you look at back end, front end, Solidity, marketing, operations, finance, accounting, all of these have various positions that we would look to extend or allocate to like a third party to beef up our overall output, how we work with regulators, how we're looking around corners for risk, how we manage inflow of users, how we work on tutorials, our overall website, and other things. So the use of proceeds is really for that growth mindset. Even having like an actual marketing budget where we can look out through the year and say, these are the events we want to go to. These are like the events, I don't know, cough, DFK Con or something that we'd like to throw. Other projects, they go and they have big parties and they have all this stuff. I don't know if we're ever going to really be a party type of mindset, but I could see us, having pretty cool events or live tournaments or other things like that. Then we think about listings. Now, I'm not going to say the C word because I said I'm not going to say that anymore, but various listings and other opportunities usually have fees associated with it. So we're being very, very cautious about opportunities there. Imagine having proceeds that go towards that and focusing less on the outrageous fees that some people are charging for some of these opportunities. We've been allocating majority of our focus for longevity and building, and we've delivered on that in the bear market. A raise is meant to bring us to the next level where we have a mindset, a multi-year growth mindset of stability and improving our overall output, our balance for our developers, and stability for everybody involved. So, long answer to your question, but a little bit of everything, etc., kind of expanded to that growth narrative. There could be other things, built in there that we haven't even been able to think about, like, could we work with people on like a mobile companion app? Well, in terms of budget and roadmap, we're not getting to that forever. Maybe a raise would change that. Do we have capacity to consider other chains or chains in new languages that we don't have any expertise on? A raise doesn't guarantee we do all these things, but at least puts us in a position where we can make more educated decisions on those possibilities.
Can y'all
Trying to
hear
say
me?
something bad. Okay,
No.
you're back.
Yeah, sorry, my Discord froze for a second, so I wasn't sure if I was unmuted or not, but we're good. No. Very much appreciate that insight. Thank you, Dreamer. All right, next question. We're going to kick off Hubert's hour for a minute. Hubert, I hope you're prepared.
Yes, sir.
All right. So it was a question. I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's pretty lengthy, but I know you've read it. So, a question about increasing the attractiveness of dark summoning through cost and/or rewards.
Yeah, so that's a good question. I guess some of the things I saw in there were like either reducing or even removing some of the costs for dark summoning. And I think while dark summoning does have some opportunities that you can take advantage of in terms of having higher rarity chances and other things like being able to summon without having any summons left, etc. We do in with how we've designed it. I think we are also cautious about the impacts about like doing something where it would be completely free, like what that would mean for the advanced rank classes, and just people being able to do it a lot, like with a lot more spam. I think that it's important for us to keep a balance between access to that feature while also not letting it completely deconstruct the way that things are rare. So I'm not really inclined to like reduce costs on that. As far as other rewards go, we have been thinking about a few different things. I'm not sure that it would be applied to dark summoning per se, but we are looking at other opportunities that we could include hero burning elsewhere.
Speaking of that, that's a perfect segue into the next question. Have we considered an always-on, high-risk, high-reward quest type, such as a perilous mission?
You're right. Yeah, did lead right into that one. We are considering various ways of having other means to burn heroes. Whether it is that or something else is yet to say. At the moment, we're pretty focused on getting more progress done on our PvP system. So I don't think we'll be having anything very immediately released that's like new burning mechanisms. But I think in the future, like one thing that I am interested in looking into more closely would be like deathmatch type things for PvP, or some dungeons or things where there is a risk of burn on failure. Something to kind of spice it up a bit. So, but there's other things that we've been discussing as well. So I'll keep that keep tight-lipped on that for now. But good questions.
Other things are things that I'm also very excited about.
I'm also very stoked about other things. All right. The weekly alpha dig on crafting. What role, if any, will a hero's luck stat play in crafting in general?
Well, there are at least a couple there that do use luck as one of their main stats. So at least for those two, it's directly impacting. If there's going to be anything beyond that, I think we're still a little too early to be able to definitively say.
Nice. The skilled pet bonus. So the pet bonus that increases the effective profession skill of a hero. Does the skill increase still need to abide by the current profession skill cap, or does it go over?
Yeah, so there actually isn't a cap on the skills. It's just it's kind of a soft cap. Just your chance of getting a skill up significantly reduces by the time you get to 10 over whatever the, or actually it's more like 20 over whatever the level of the skill quest is. So yeah, there is no limit there. So if you did have the skill bonus applied from your pet, it would give you that benefit. Like if it gave you like plus 30 and you were at 20, for example, you'd basically go through all the calculations as if you had 50 skill level.
And just to clarify, that only really applies to the reward portion, correct?
Yes, that's true. So it doesn't apply to gaining access. So if it's a brand new hero, you would not be able to do the skill 10 quests until their actual skill was at 10 or higher. And also it does not impact your chances of getting skill ups. So like if you had plus 30 and you were at 0, you're still going to be able to get some pretty fast skill gains, I think, and until you get closer to wherever the cap is.
Awesome.
And it's a soft cap. Yeah, I said there's no cap, and then I said cap. So wherever the significantly limited chances happen.
That will work. All right. And switching gears a little bit. I'm really excited for this question. The idea that pets that are fed take a daily dump, creating a shitcoin that can be used when you start a gardening quest to give a small % chance of an additional reward as you fertilize your garden.
That question just brings me back to middle school and cleaning up after my Tamagotchis in between classes and probably during classes too. Yeah, that's a fun idea. I don't think we're gonna do it anytime soon or ever, but we'll see.
Um, sorry. Anyway, next question. Currently, are there plans to have innate crafting be one of the options for pets to grant, similar to the innate profession pet bonus?
Yeah, that's an interesting idea. I'll note that the way that we set up the crafting professions on the hero struct don't really allow us to have a third profession. So if we did do that, we'd either have to change things up again, which I'm not super inclined to do, but we could. So I think that's a good idea, and I will think about it when we are in the process of designing all of the pet bonuses. But yeah, I can't say for sure whether or not we would do that.
Fair enough. Switching up, got a couple questions on duels for Fox. Really appreciate the incorporation of pets into duels. Any thoughts on potentially introducing more scaling for higher rarity pets or other interactions with pets in duels?
Yeah, I was really stoked about adding pets to duels. I think it's really cool to just have additional depth to it and additional utility for those as well. We did look at a number of different ways at how we could integrate pets, and this will probably apply in the future to some extent, perhaps to other equipment as well. So to do that, we kind of looked at what are the nature of pets, what are some of their attributes that we could use that might impact it, and they're not as sort of like full featured as like hero NFTs are, where they have all these stats and like experience points that can level up. In fact, there's no levels at all. So we looked at a few things that would work, and one that made a lot of sense was like the pet rarity, because they all have that, and it has a pretty clear way to implement that inside of duels. We also looked at elements too, because there's already the concept of elements inside of duels, and having a pet there with an element could augment that or could add an additional role for the element or something like that. I think that'd be really cool. The problem with that is not all of the egg types have been introduced yet, so we don't have all of the elements represented yet. So once that does get there, then you might expect to see some other ways that they may interact with duels. But for the meantime, rarity was the one that made the most sense, and it was the sort of like the MVP for integrating more things about heroes into it. So I'm excited for future seasons when we'll have more things like equipment and other pets and like the full elements and things like that too, as well as some other things that we've started to like brainstorm for it. So there's always going to be something new, I think, and it'll be fun to see how those turn out.
Nice. Second question on duels. With the topic of gas, any thoughts on having duels require stamina, which would both limit the number of duels that could be done as well as kind of introduce the choice between questing and dueling?
Yeah, that's a good question. We actually talked a lot about this early on when we were first envisioning duels, whether or not stamina should play a part in it, or it should have some cost of like potions to take part. We even thought about using HP and MP as sort of like some of the resources there inside of duels. We held off on that because the whole idea with duels was that it wasn't supposed to be a full combat experience. It's not even really, from a lore standpoint, it's not actually the heroes fighting against other heroes. It's just like their cards. It's basically like a card game. So that was one of the reasonings there. And the other thing was we wanted duels to be something that players could do while their heroes are doing other things like questing. Otherwise, the game starts to become just log in, set your heroes to quest, and then you can't do anything with them while they're questing. And it's kind of like there isn't as much to do in the game during that time. So we wanted there to be mini games for them to do while they're doing other things. And so if we had it cost stamina, then players would have to choose between having them quest or duel. And that wasn't really what we wanted to incentivize there. The other thing is too, just from a tokenomics standpoint, duels, it's actually a really healthy implementation as far as the in-game economy goes, because to participate in duels, which have really cool like rewards and things, you do have to also expend crystal and gold. And so as players are doing that, that actually helps to create a lot of utility for other tokens as well. So it's pretty well in balance right now. I don't want to mess with it too much, but the whole idea with the stamina and then like duels was actually very intentional, and it was for a reason, and I think it's actually working out really well.
Awesome. Let's see. This one's also for you, Magnus. With DFK being very on-chain, has the team looked at ERC 6551 tokens and how they can be implemented?
I'll speak a little bit about this and then let Magnus speak. We haven't really looked too deeply into that one. I've heard about it, and I think actually maybe it was you, Magnus, who shared something about that like a year ago, or probably not a full year. Here in the space here with like crypto, time works weird, but I do remember seeing something about that and how you could basically like have accounts get tied to NFTs. We do have the concept of like soulbound tokens, which isn't directly related, but it's sort of ancillary to it, and a lot of other things that we've sort of like pioneered with NFTs. Even just the concept of NFTs that can change and can level up and earn XP was pretty new at the time that we implemented it. I actually wasn't really aware of any other projects at the time that we're doing it. There might have been. I'm still not sure. But that was our whole intention with NFTs, was that you could have them be more than just what everyone would usually think of with NFTs. ERC 6551, I do want to look into that more, and who knows, we could probably find a good way to implement some of these other standards into our app in the future. Madness?
Yeah. This I actually looked into this last week a little bit and almost dropped it in the Solidity channel, but I think I have a habit of just finding an ERC that I get really excited about and not really having a use case for it. This one I think particularly for our game does have a pretty good use case, but it's still pretty new. We would need to look at it a little more, but basically this would be like an add-on to the ERC 721 standard where NFTs could basically be an account instead of like a wallet, and they could own various assets, even other NFTs or tokens, and so it kind of lets the NFT have its own kind of shared history that it would collect as you as kind of like the blockchain moves on, and I guess the goal would be to kind of add value to that NFT rather than the wallet having that kind of that status. Yeah, we kind of built our own system for equipping pets and future equipment and things like that. But there may be some interplay there to have heroes maybe own other NFTs. But for the time being, we're pretty happy with kind of our roadmap for the equipment system. But it might be a good use case or other use cases in the future. But yeah, definitely. As Fox mentioned, crypto moves so fast; it's hard to keep track of the tooling and also just the approval status and especially the security concerns around new ERCs that come out. So we're always kind of evaluating those, but we want to let them settle out a little bit sometimes too, just make sure all the tooling and security stuff is up to date.
Just one more thought about it. We did mention early on in our brainstorming and things that lands would actually have some of the same properties as this ERC 6551 standard. Whereas you could have a land that might own or represent ownership of guilds and other heroes, other armies, and things like that. There's very similar things there with stuff like lands, and then heroes with how they own equipment that's equipped to them, and when you bridge one, it sort of has them all get bridged. That's basically realistically an implementation of that in a way, because you're transferring the hero, you also transfer all of the other things that go with it. But yeah, thanks for sharing. That's a very interesting question. I'm going to go look into it some more.
Appreciate both of you. This one we've touched on a little bit before, but thoughts on being able to run more than 5 attempts at a time on training quests?
Yeah, so that was a limitation put in place when we had some plans with leaderboards back in the day, and we've since retired the leaderboard system. So I think at this point, as I think about it, I'm not sure that there's a specific reason for us to keep that cap. So that may be something that we change here in the future. We'll talk about it.
Thank you. I got another one for you, or anybody else, but also you. Any thoughts on having a crystal burn mechanic where you burn X number of lesser crystals for a regular crystal and Y number of regular crystals for a greater crystal?
Yeah, I have been thinking about something like that for a while now. I think there's probably a few things about doing that where I'd want to change it up a little bit. I actually kind of talked about this yesterday during a podcast that I was on with the ADFK guys, and yeah, that kind of illustrates my thinking. I think there may be some additional things that we could or should do that would make an idea like that a little bit more beneficial for the economy. But yeah, anyway, I do like that idea. It has been something I've been thinking about, and no promises on when something like that might come about.
Yep. And for anybody who missed that podcast but wants to catch it, it is on YouTube with ADFK and Dr. Zipper's on top of it. So he just dropped the link in the AMA voiceless chat as well. But it was a really good talk. I recommend listening to it if you have not. All right. Question for anybody who wants to take it. Maybe SBD actually. Why no pants for heroes?
Do what?
Why
Wow, that's a blast from the past.
why aren't there pants to be equipped to heroes?
Like, I don't know if people here remember, or even on our team, it was just very early on, but we had someone in our community, because like we posted a picture of some of our heroes, and one of them was sort of wearing like a swimsuit type of armor, looking armor, and it's like, why no pants? Why no pants? And it became this big thing, and we're like, there will be pants, don't worry. But blast from the past, wow.
Yeah, I guess that wasn't for me after all.
Any plans for equipable pants? Like,
Oh, sorry, I thought you asked first best dad. Okay, I'm gonna be quiet.
Oh
oh,
my god.
wow.
It's true. It's true. Yeah, so the serious answer is there will be a changing of pants, but it'll be part of a greater change of like armor and skins and things like that. But it's not like I guess in theory, with the way we've planned things, there could be a pants accessory that you equip that just adds pants to your outfit. I don't know. I mean, that's technically is possible, but we'd have to have a community vote for that.
All right, fair enough. Oh, Hubert, go ahead.
Like, do we need a community vote for that?
Yeah, we need a community vote for pants, 100%. It's probably the most important community vote that we've had in the history of this project.
You might be right, honestly. Yeah, I guess just adding to that though, we're with the different equipment slots that we did put in the game. We're trying to balance uh, between making a good variable system where equipment's going to matter, but not going so far that it's going to slow us down too much to design each of these things, because each equipment slot adds just a whole new variable to balancing everything else, and we kind of made a conscious decision to just have an armor slot and an accessory slot, and the accessory slot is not necessarily any one specific thing. Like amulets are going to be equipable there, but it could also be pants, like SBD said, or hats or other things are also possible. It's just a generic accessory. So.
Very nice. One that we've talked a little bit about before as well, but Beetle Dude, any thoughts on hero tagging or quest presets?
Oh, I have thoughts. I have many thoughts. Yeah, I mean, I think it's just a matter of timing still. We definitely are going to want some sort of, I don't know if tagging is the right word, but hero grouping will definitely be on the docket for things that are going to require like groups of 3. I wonder what that could be. Like combat and traveling. So there will definitely be the need for grouping. Tagging would be a little bit of a heavier lift, probably, just because we need to figure out how that would look in the UI. And there is such a thing, I think, of giving maybe too many options, freedom in that regard. So it's something that we'll just need to plan. But as we get further along with the combat testing grounds and with our kind of user database that's off chain, I think it will become more into focus, especially with the new features that are coming with PvP and travel. And then questing, we were having a lot of discussions about what more efficient questing could look like. There's definitely one option for like on the manual side could be just queuing up the previous set of quests that you sent. But just again takes time, and there are some features that might change what's needed there. So yeah, I guess we'll just keep you posted. It's still all on the radar, but not currently fleshed out completely.
Thank you, good sir. All
Yep.
right. I'm going to snag 2 more questions and then we're going to call it a day. And I think we're going to roll a couple over, which is fine. We will get them next week. Are there any plans to add additional inputs to the Duel portion of the quest fund?
Yes.
All right. And any update on the quarterly jeweler distributions?
I believe that's me. I was actually working on that a little bit this week. I added some code that would make it be automatic. That was like last time, but then I wanted to manually do it that last time before we launched the automatic one, and I was hoping to have the automatic one launch with this one. That said, there is a fair amount that's built up, so I think what I want to do is sort of so that there's no cliff or anything, I'm going to claim it throughout the day over the next few days until it gets closer to 0. That is unclaimed, and that will be distributed at the same time. And then I will deploy that to mainnet, so it'll just be automatic from now going forward, so that anytime anything gets in there, which happens hundreds or even thousands of times throughout the day in small amounts, that will immediately be dispersed once it gets in there. So it's just kind of a constant flow. That way we won't have to do any more manual ones, and there won't be any cliffs or anything. It's just going to be a constant stream, which I love. So that is the current plan of it.
Perfect. Thank you. So yeah, we will go ahead and wrap up there for today. There will be a couple questions that will roll over to next week, but no problem. As always, my current weekly reminder, don't ape into broken mechanics. But just wanted to say thank you, as always, to everybody up here and everybody in the audience for taking time out of their day to submit questions, listen to the questions be answered, and answer the questions. So very much appreciate all of that. You guys are awesome, both everybody on the stage and everybody in the audience and everybody not on the stage or in the audience. Anybody have any last minute comments or topics before we wrap up and have second best dad bullish us because he's not normally here?
I saw someone mention the Giga patch, and I guess I just we didn't really say, but just another big props to the team for getting that out and for everyone's patience. And it's huge and exciting. And I'm stoked. I'm stoked about it. So great job, everyone.
Yeah, we really didn't touch on that, but yeah, it's done now. Awesome. Well, thank you, Beetle Dude, and second best dad, take it away.
Bullish.
Bullish.
Stick with
Bullish.
bullish.
Thanks, guys.
Bullish.
Bullish!